Hi guys, welcome to JoeGa Yoga Fitness and to this Energising Hatha class. Please enjoy, like, share, subscribe and get in touch using the boxes below. When you're ready, come down to Shavasana and we will begin. Just taking that Shavasana, allowing yourself these few moments at the beginning of your yoga practice to connect to the earth and to disconnect to everything that's happening around you. It's a beautiful time to just work inwardly, noticing how your body is feeling this day, where your breath is at, where your mind is at, how your emotions are. Just taking this little scan, not only through the body in a physical sense, but through kind of how you're feeling in life right now. And I am a huge believer in we are how we feel, how we choose to be. So if we choose to be happy, if we choose to be accepting, then we can be. If we choose to be annoyed by things, if we choose to let things get to us, then they will. And when things do start to annoy or niggle us or get to us, we have to kind of take that step back and say, I choose how I deal with this situation. And right now I'm choosing to be happy and I'm choosing to be accepting. And then we can feel quite powerful again. It's our choice. So just letting that settle in the mind for a moment. How are you choosing to be this day? And then slide the feet in towards the bottom, please. Bending the knees. And just turning the palms down just into a more active and stimulated stance. And just rock those knees from side to side, just loosening off that lower back. It's always a beautiful awakening of that lumbar region here. Really protected, really safe. You can feel how fast you go. You can determine how low you go. All the things are within your control. And just a beautiful rocking here. And then if you'd like to come more into the back, you can bring the feet off the floor and just roll the knees over the belly, allowing you to massage the lower back and to massage into the abdomen as well. And some people like to put their hands on the knees and draw them down a little deeper, really feel that release in the back. You should always be led by what feels good to you. So you choose, again, about choice. How do you feel to do this? And then find a stillness and just hold still and just look for that prana flowing through the body. Sometimes you just get little tingles as the prana spreads throughout. And then just return, if you will, the feet back onto the floor. And just reach the arms overhead and stretch the legs away. So take a nice big stretch, like you're waking up in the morning and you're just yawning and you're just opening. You're just releasing off. Just bring the shoulders up to the ears. Feel really tense. Squeeze the buttocks. And then let it go and melt down and find that space. Let's just do that again. Feel that tension. Buttocks squeeze, legs lift, shoulders up, fists, screw up the feet. And then soften and release and feel the difference. Quite often we do run through life very tense. We don't really even notice it. When we do an activity like that, we think, gosh, that tension. Bend the knees now, feet on the ground. Let's roll over onto one side, coming over into an embryo pose just for a moment. And it's only when we do something like that where we actually physically and awaken and awaredly, aware, is that a word? But with awareness, bring tension into our body, that we kind of think, oh, that's so horrible. It feels so encumbrant. So coming round onto all fours, and let's take those cat-cows. And it allows us to recognize when we are tense, and it allows us to access those pathways to release. So just remember that, particularly if you are getting a little bit et up about something, something's annoying you, just tensing and releasing the body like that can just remind us that we have the ability to let go. Let's just take other movements here now, anything that feels good to you. So it might be a little cat-cow, it might be an infinity, it might be a dog tail wag. It can be moving forwards and backwards, just anything that feels really nice to you, just to wake up all those joints, all those connective parts of the body, between the joints, the ligaments, obviously into the muscles and the tendons. And then just pausing here, just sit back on your heels if you will, and just lift up through the body. And just take a moment here. If this feels uncomfortable for you, then obviously you can stay over on all fours. But if your knees allow it and you can come up like this, then just sit in here and just bring your hands into your heart and just close down the eyes just for a moment. And just feel your heart beating. Make that connection to our inner self. Sometimes we forget that we are in all these weird, wonderful ways. We are alive. And there's the heartbeat to tell us how wonderful that feels. And then take a breath in, lift the arms up to the sky, gather the vibrations in, draw that energy into your heart and roll back over onto all fours. Obviously, if you've been on all fours all along, then you just stay there. Let's take a cat and cow now, slowing it right down. Really lift the spine up into that angry cat pose. And then exhale, slowly melt. Dropping the belly, squeezing that spine and lifting that chin. Just slow it down, just holding this. And then once more, rolling up into cat. And releasing down into cow. 3's a charm. Let's do that one more time, super slowly, rolling up into that beautiful cat stretch. Really pushing the ground away and then rippling and rolling through into your cow pose. Take a breath. Sit yourself back, coming onto that heel kneel position again. Lift up this time, high kneeling. Bring the energy in. Drop your hands down and through onto all fours. Drop down into your cow pose. Lift up into cat, tuck the toes and just sit back onto those heels, stretching out the feet. This is always lovely for just stretching out through the bottom of the feet and into the toes. And then just coming up gently, make a soft down dog, nothing massive at the moment. Just a gentle bending of the knees, the chest onto the thighs, maybe a little pedal. Just all the things that you want to do just to start to look at the expression of this posture. And then rolling down again onto all fours and sitting back. So we're going to make this salutation a little different today. So we're going to be starting and ending in this position here. So hopefully the knees are good. Take a breath in and lift up. Bring the energy down. Take cow first, roll through, lift and open the heart. And then tuck the head under, lift the spine, tuck the toes, climbing into down dog. Taking your version, again, just have a little pedal here if that feels good, or you might like to hold, just feeling that stretch, or you might be a ballerina onto the toes and down. And then just allow yourself to roll through into plank. So just a little add-on here. And then lift up into dog. Feel that strain through the wrists. Rolling out into plank. And lifting up into dog. And then walk your feet to the middle of the mat. Walk your hands back also. And just hang out here. Let the head hang down. Again, feeling that beautiful openness at the back of the body. And then rolling yourself up to standing. Taking a big grab of energy. Bringing it back into the heart. Folding forwards and down. And stepping yourself back into down dog. Roll forwards into plank. Lower the knees down, sitting back onto your heels, and just lift the energy into the heart. Just roll back onto the toes if you can. Take a little ankle stretch here. Pause and breathe. And then release. Take a breath in, lifting up. Bringing it over onto all fours. Rolling into cow pose. And lifting into cat. Tucking the toes and climbing into your dog. And walking those feet into the center of your mat. Coming into that forward fold. Letting the head hang down. Good. And just allowing yourself to be really relaxed here. Maybe a little sway from side to side. And then rolling up to standing. Gathering up. Pulling through the midline and folding forwards. And stepping yourself back out into downward face dog. Still or moving, it's up to you. You know what feels good in your body. Rolling through into plank. Lowering the knees and sitting back. Taking a grab of energy, pulling it home, and just rolling those knees off the floor. Little stretch into the ankles. Good. So as with salutations that I do, we're going to make it progressively longer, a little bit more challenging, a few more postures. Bring the energy in, rise through the legs, hands onto the floor, rolling into cow. Exhaling and lifting into cat. Pushing through into down dog when you're ready. Down dog of choice. Taking a breath. Now take your right leg to the sky. Think about three-legged dog to begin with, so don't be in too much of a rush to really open those hips. Think about driving the hips, that right hip down, that left hip up, and you'll feel that massive stretch down the back of the left leg. When we kind of open a bit more like this, it tends to lose that fabulous stretch on the left leg. And then swing that foot through between the hands, coming into Anjani, that high lunge. And then just lowering down into that low lunge, releasing the back toe. And let's just work into this front hip. So pressing open through the groin as much as you feel comfortable with. Remember to pad out the back knee if kneeling is a little uncomfortable for you. And then let's climb onto that front thigh and just open up. Beautiful, beautiful stretch. Take a breath in and let's ripple and roll through the hips, bringing the hips back, straightening that front leg. I'm leading with my heart here, but you might prefer to lower down and get your nose onto your knee. Remembering, of course, at all times, it's your practice. You do postures how you feel drawn to them. And then coming back into that central position, tucking the toes under, finding that high lunge, and then stepping forwards if you can into that forward fold. Maybe you hook the elbows, maybe you hook the feet, maybe you just hang out, whatever feels good. Just allowing yourself to be in this posture. And then taking a breath, lift up halfway. I love the feeling of this one as an opposition to that full Uttanasana or forward fold, however you do it. This Ardha posture, much more rigid, straight lines. Feel it emanating and releasing through the legs and the back. And then relax down again, very much like water flowing over a waterfall. Just let the spine cascade forwards, the arms really loose and hanging. And then rolling up, coming up to standing, taking a breath, coming back over, and stepping back right, left into that downward face dog, please. Ripple out into plank. Lower the knees, sit back, take the arms overhead, lift the knees off into ankle stretch and pull home. Pause for one breath. Take the knees down, lift up, reach. Pull down onto all fours, cow through the spine. Into cat, that Marjariasana. Tuck the toes and lift high. Take a breath. And lift that left leg to the sky. Again, just working on keeping those hips nice and square. And just pressing through that right heel, a beautiful stretch down the back of that leg. And then swinging that leg through, coming into that high lunge. Roll your heart forwards here, open the groin. And lowering the knee down, releasing the toes, and just pressing through and open. And then if you'd like to lean on that front thigh, just really letting that hip flexors, the psoas group opening here, pressing back. And then releasing back, pull the bottom back, reaching out over that extended front leg. Again, think about the hips. If you've got your left hip kind of swaying forwards, it's going to be a little bit easier. If you pull back through that left hip and push through that right hip, really squaring the hips off, you'll feel that beautiful stretch just deepen down the back of the leg. Nice work. And then rolling back forwards, tucking the back toe, coming into that high lunge once more, and stepping up into your forward fold. So you can do Ashtha Padmasana, you can do Padangusthasana, whichever you prefer to do in this position. I just like an Uttanasana, I must say, but everybody's different. Lift up halfway. Feel that change in all of the muscles. And then releasing off, rolling up through the spine. Gather that energy, draw it home. Plant that goodness in your heart. And then folding through, connect to the earth. Stepping back, left, right into down dog. Ripple and roll into plank. Lower your knees down, release your toes, sitting back. Gather that energy, pull back through the knees and stretch. And release, taking it down. Great work. Take a breath in. Let's just take a little lateral flexion. We're going to go over towards your right, so just leaning. I've just changed my position so you can see, hopefully. Just opening that side of the chest, lengthening through the waist. Release that off, please. And then breathing in. And taking it over towards side two. Left side, your left side, but it doesn't matter if you've gone with me. Nice. Lovely. Just set up or stand up your front leg. So your bottom is sitting on your left heel, your right foot is coming forwards. And we're just going to sort of reach forwards here. And just take a stretch down through the bottom of the leg. So the calf muscles, you've got the big two-headed gastroc at the top there, then it goes into soleus and then it rolls into Achilles, which wraps around under and onto the calcaneum in the heel. And when we're doing down dog, trying to get those heels down sometimes can feel a bit tight. So this is a lovely stretch to help me, just leaning the body weight on that front knee there. And then just releasing off and just swapping sides. So I'm going to turn side on so you can have a little look. Leaning onto that thigh, so try and keep that heel on the ground. Feel that beautiful stretch as you lean onto that thigh, reaching forwards. Ever get any problems stretching out the calf? This is a great one, really works deep. Lovely, let's let that go. Let's take our seated kneeling position once more. We're going to run through that salutation left and right, adding in again. Take a breath in, lifting up. Pull the energy into your heart, just roll back onto those toes, stretching out. And then lifting up and rise. Energy pushes down into the ground. Dip through into cow, Vithalasana. And rolling up into cat. Tuck the toes and climb into dog. Pressing through. I'm going to bring my toes so they're touching now. So I'm making like a tripod. So my hands are shoulder width apart, they're maybe a bit wider. My toes are now touching. And I'm going to lift up that right leg. And now I'm going to start to open that hip and really drive that left heel into the ground. And I'm looking out under my right arm. Beautiful stretch through. And then bringing it back through neutral. I'm going to swing that knee up behind the wrist. And I'm going to relax down into Kapotasana, the Pigeon Pose. So just setting up here. I always see a lot of people kind of grabbing at the legs, and you know, you can, if you want to, encourage it round, but just sliding through and opening up can feel just as good. Just feel like bringing your body up. Let the weight of your body open your hips. Don't be in a rush to lay your pigeon down. Let the hips open. Just work. Do you need to have outward rotation more in that right hip? Do you need to push back more through the left one? Find, we call it sukha, that comfort, that ease. Find the sukha in the pose first. And then if you want to, you can start to head towards the earth. So maybe onto elbows. Maybe you want to relax completely onto your head. I always think these make it feel a little bit more accessible, so feel free. If you can't quite get down, you can always use a block to relax upon. Or you can stay up high and just really, I've got that really isolated in that right hip there, and it just feels so good. And quite often you can feel this posture in your knees, and it's not supposed to be there. So just really find that hip opener. And then just spend a little time. Really, really appreciates a bit of time, this pose. Listen to your body talk to you. Let's take one more breath here. If you are down, then gently make your way back up onto your hands, setting yourself up in a position that feel that you can take the weight through. Tucking under the toes of the left, really again, make sure you've got good purchase on, and step back into down dog, please, and just take a little pedal here, because that right leg might feel like it needs just a little bit of reawakening. Just pausing here, just to feel that happen. And then we're going to step that right foot up between the hands, opening the heart, opening through the groin. Drop that back knee down, release the toe. Pressing here, climb up onto that front thigh, lift your heart. And then if you want a little extra, raise the arms to the sky, but not the shoulders. Don't bring the shoulders around the ears. Leave the shoulders down, open and look through. Take a breath, bring your hands into heart here, pull back through to straighten that front leg, and I'm going to pivot round onto the side to face towards you. Now make sure you've released your kneecap, don't spin round on that patella, that can be quite tricky. And we're just going to lift this leg out to the side. Nice strong hip. Lovely. And then as you bring the leg behind you, bend the knee and sit down, and you're coming into Swastasana or prep for pigeon and sitting up tall. So both legs are bent, and we're just going to lean out towards the side of our mat and lift the hips off the floor. Big, big lift. Breathe and release. Sweep that arm down and round. You should be able to come back onto all fours without too much trouble. Downward facing dog. Ripple and roll into plank. Knees down, sit back, lift those knees, gather, and pull the energy in. Roll out onto all fours. Take a cow pose first, and then into cat. Lovely. Take the toes under and push up into dog. Nice work. So lifting that left leg this time, just think about neutral through the pelvis to begin with. And then as you exhale a little further, maybe just drawing that leg up a little higher, looking out under that left, really opening and reaching away. And then centralize and neutralize everything. So back into that equal and bring that knee round and through underneath into that pigeon on side 2. So nice extended leg behind. Remembering that you can turn over and do pretzel pose if pigeon doesn't suit you, or you can just leave it out altogether. So again, just lifting the heart, just using the body weight to open into the hip. Don't be so keen to get down on those hands. And it does feel strong and it might feel a little uncomfortable. As long as it's not bringing pain. Pain is not good, discomfort is. So just distinguish, just give it time to see and really look for it in the hip rather than the knee. And then of course if you'd like to exhale down, please do. And if you'd like to go a little further, rest away. Everything manifests in everybody's body slightly differently. So, you know, some people are like, I love this posture. Some people are like, not so keen. Some people find their body doesn't like it, doesn't go into it particularly well. And there's all the variations, and we always have that choice to miss it out. So just sitting where you feel comfortable, and again, just close it down and let's just feel how our body feels. Beautiful, well done. Take a breath in, please. And breathe out. And then taking a breath in, rising up if you're down, finding that hand position that suits you, just bringing everything ready to move. Taking a breath, tucking the right toes under and stepping back into down dog. And just taking a little pedal out here, just releasing that leg. And it's great to notice how different the legs feel, one from the other. And then just pause here. Beautiful. Let's step that left leg through to the top of your mat, opening your hip. Lift your heart and then release that back knee down, release the toes. Coming up onto that front thigh. And reaching the arms, but not the shoulders, towards that beautiful sky. Pulling back, bring the hands in. I'm going to turn, apologies for my back to you. Release that knee, leg to the side and lift. And then bend the knee and take the leg behind as you pivot to sit into your prep for pigeon. Hands down, lift up and stretch over. And then sliding around, you should be able to maneuver into all fours quite nicely. Downward facing dog, please. Ripple and roll into plank. Knees down, release the toes, sweep up one last time, gather that energy, plant it in the heart, and release. Great work. Come around to sitting, please. And extend the legs in front of you. And just sitting up nice and tall. And just taking lateral flexion towards the right. And then over towards the left. And releasing. Great work. Just taking that right knee and bending it in towards you. Just sitting up nice and tall. And then you have a choice here. Some people like to keep the hands interlaced and you can take hold of the foot and reach through. Maybe you'd like to just take a bind, so 2-piece fingers around and you can stretch out here. And if you've got a strap or something that if you can't reach the foot, you can use the back of the leg. If you've got a belt, you can use a belt, anything that you need. But we're looking to straighten that right leg, reaching it up, again looking for that stretch along the back of the leg. And if you find that you're really, really extending through the shoulder blades, if you're really, really open there, try and sit up a little taller, bring the shoulder blades back towards each other. So retraction rather than protraction. So we're not kind of getting hunched back with this. Nice. Just one more breath here. And then we're going to just gently lower that down. Try and keep hold of it, bring the body with you, coming into Paschimottanasana. So that big forward fold. And again, personal choice. If you prefer to drop the head and sort of relax down over the legs, do. If you prefer a little bit more stretch through the lower back and the back of the legs, lift the heart and drive forwards. So we talked about sukha earlier on, that ease. There's also sthira, which is our purpose. So the two, of course, working in duality. Everything should have purpose, but should be nice and easy and comfortable, and not feel like it's really painful or inaccessible. So they work together. So looking for the sthira, the purpose, whilst also really, really enjoying the sukha, the ease and the comfort. Okay, let's just draw in that left knee, give it a squeeze, sitting up. Lovely. And then again, just because you did one hand position on the other side doesn't always mean that you're going to get it on side two, but extending that left leg up towards the sky, holding wherever you feel that you can hold. Nice. And just look for that lovely stretch and release. And then once more, using the weight of the leg to pull you forwards into Pashi. Just allow yourself just a moment here. So we're going to take that again, but we're going to take it as a balance. So I'm just going to spin myself around just a little bit so hopefully you can see a bit more. So bending in what will be your right leg and just sitting up nice and tall here. Make sure wherever you are that there's nothing behind you, that if you did happen to roll, which is perfectly acceptable, but you're not going to hurt yourself or break anything, okay? So if you need to, just reposition yourselves to make sure you've got a clear run, because sometimes we roll, and if we do, we want to be able to do it freely. Sitting up nice and tall, taking hold of that foot once more and extending that leg towards the sky, just lifting it up, just looking, again, thinking about the shoulder blade. And then what I get you to do is bend your left leg and just bring the foot on the floor and just play with lifting this foot from the ground and just balancing on your bottom. You might feel, oh, I'm really wobbly, and that's fine. Use one of your hands to support you if you need to. And then once you've got that, you feel that you can hold it, you can then extend that leg, and if you roll, that's okay. You see children rolling around the floor all the time. Oh, I'm going to go again. And they have such a freedom and such a joy, don't they? And yet when we do it, we kind of go, oh, and get all frustrated. So just enjoy the rolling. In fact, what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to get you to lift that left leg and just roll out of it. And just enjoy that roll out and let it go, if you've got space, okay? And I'll just spin this way, so legs towards you again. So let's just draw in that second side left leg. I think we should get down and roll around the floor a lot more than we do. Lifting up. Find that position, bend that right leg, and then just play with your balance. And you might find that this side is more accessible, you might find that this side is not. And then straightening that leg and just holding where you feel comfortable. Really pulling in. Remember Mula Bandha here. Really helpful if you can engage there. And then draw that second leg up and just roll yourself out of it. Massage the spine up and over. Good. Nice work. Yeah, get down and roll around. So liberating. Coming to a sitting position of your choice. So we're just going to do a little bit of relaxation through those shoulders and neck, because holding onto that leg may have created a little bit of tension there, so we're just going to get rid of that. So just releasing off, just rolling your left shoulder round and rolling your right shoulder round, and then just kind of alternating between the two, just feeling that beautiful ripple and roll. And then rolling that left shoulder forwards, rolling that right shoulder forwards, and again, just rolling the two. And then draw them up. Remember we did that tension exercise at the beginning? Oh, the tension here. And just relax and roll it down. Let's move the head from side to side, relaxing off. And drop the chin and lift the chin. Just releasing, unwinding any tension in the neck. Beautiful, guys, well done. If you have got your legs crossed, just cross them the other way, just for the sake of your hips, just nice and even. Lovely, great work. And just let's take a little spinal rotation. So we're going to turn to the left, so we're going to bring our right hand over onto the left knee. And I'd like you to reach your left hand to the sky and start to lean back and lengthen. Good, and then bring that hand over the top and find the right knee if you can, and drop the spine away, tuck the chin in, scoop the belly in, tip the pelvis forwards, and then opening up, blooming like that lotus. Take the arms behind, roll the shoulder blades in, lift the chin, lean back into the hands and stretch the chest. And then letting go, let's rotate, left hand onto right. Reach the right hand up to the sky, leaning back. Drop that hand over to the left knee, again taking that scoop in, tailbone forwards, chin down, tummy in. And then opening and bringing it all behind. Roll the shoulders, lift the heart, lift the chin, open the throat. Vishuddhi here in the throat, very much our communication center. Sometimes we need to remember to communicate better. Let's relax that off, just release through the head. Communication, of course, about listening as well as speaking. We have to remember sometimes we need to say and sometimes we need to not say. Nice work, guys. Let's turn ourselves down onto our backs, coming down gently, taking a moment with the knees bent to just make sure that the lower back is released. And I'd like you to take your feet wider than your mat and just roll your knees in, just an inward rotation on the hips, and just see how that feels. I do invite you through any of this to close your eyes, start to move back inwards, checking in with how you're feeling. And then rolling those knees up to the sky, just separate the feet about hip width now, so walking them in slightly. And extend one leg along the mat and keep the other leg bent. And we're going to draw that knee in towards the chest. So you can clasp the knee here, or you can hold the back of the leg, or use a strap if you're not quite able to get the hold on it that you want. Think about the leg that's extended. Try and keep that nice and straight and purposeful, remembering that stirrup, that purpose. Sometimes we tend to let them bag and sag and relax. And just draw this knee down. Now I've got my right knee bent and my left leg extended. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my right knee over towards the left side, rolling up onto my left hip. So if you've got the other way, then go the other way. Opening through the chest, my right hand and arm is reaching away, and my head is looking back towards the hand. If you need some help with this, you can use a block. You can pop the foot on the block. You can pop the block under the knee, whatever feels good for you, if you do need a bit of help. Or you can just let it kind of use the weight of gravity, 10 newtons of pressure just pushing you down. And then rolling onto your back. Just allow your knees to roll in, massage out the lower back. And then place your feet on the floor, and let's do the other side. So I'm extending my right leg, I'm drawing my left leg in, purposeful through my right leg, squeezing that left knee. And then just taking that left knee over to the right side, rolling up onto that right hip, turning my head, getting this beautiful stretch into the lower back. Twisting, about cleansing. It's about kind of detoxing. When we twist, we're looking to stop the blood from getting there. And then when we open up and we untwist, the blood rushes through and cleanses that area. It's so beautiful, so beneficial. Taking one more breath here. And then rolling back. Let's extend that leg out. If you find that your lower back feels that it needs a bit of extra support, bend your knees. Bring your hands down beside you, please, or place them on your navel. Close your eyes just for a minute, 1 minute, to just completely let go. Breathe and release. Smile and enjoy. When you're ready, start to introduce little movements, fingers and toes, hands and feet, arms and legs, maybe a nice big stretch. And then rolling over onto your side, coming into that embryo pose, maybe side two, maybe same side, whichever you prefer. Some people like to use the nadis, Sushumna and Ida and Pingala, or the heart for reasons of turning one way or the other, but sometimes it's just nice to do what we want. And then coming up to sitting, bring yourself up, seal out the practice, taking a big breath in and drawing down. Hands into heart, bowing the head. Saying thank you to the body for this beautiful time, this opportunity, this breath, this space. Hayom Tat Sat. Namaste.